November of last year, when ChatGPT came out, I think everyone, where you are in the business of AI or in any business, everybody has been focusing their attention on ChatGPT and AI. Actually, AI has been around for many years prior to the conversational chatbot. And this afternoon, since our Expo is on the topic of smart cities, we'll be talking in this panel, AI applications for smart cities. All right, so I'll start the session by giving approximately a 5-minute overview of both smart cities and AI. Then we'll have a keynote speaker from IBM who will be giving us a talk for about 20 minutes. And then we have 2 panelists, one from the city of Palo Alto and one from another startup, who will be presenting their product and their viewpoints on this topic. And then once everybody got the chance to talk, we'll also entertain some questions from the audience. All right, so that's basically the format for this session. So hopefully on the screen, you're already seeing my cover slide. The topic again is AI applications for smart cities. So in order to talk about this, so that put it into the context. So being people from a university, usually I try to go and give the overview and present all the concepts first so that everybody is on the same page. So let me start with what's the definition of a smart city, okay? A smart city is a city that leverages the latest in digital technologies. And for what purpose? So that basically we can enhance the quality and the performance of all the urban services in a city to reduce cost and resource consumption, manage energy and waste more efficiently and effectively, and for the benefit of all the citizens. Okay, so I actually teach emerging technologies at the University of California. If you look at the current technologies that are red hot right now, we have AI, we have 5G, blockchain, IoT, big data and analytics, cloud and edge computing, AR, VR, robotics, autonomous vehicles, drones, 3D printing, etc. So probably right now in this session, because of the recent interest on AI, we'll be focusing most of the technology on AI related. Okay. Now in a smart city where we live, basically all aspects of a city are involved. We have smart energy, smart transportation, smart healthcare, smart education, utilities, and so on. Okay, so basically it covers all our aspects of our daily life. Okay, now so that's as far as what a smart city and what it encompasses. The next topic that is in a part of our session today is AI. So what is AI? AI is a branch of the computer science dedicated to simulating human intelligence, and it enables a computer software to execute tasks and also make decisions. Okay, so AI is actually a pretty broad field. Just like a smart city covers all aspects of a society, AI covers, for example, expert systems, robotics, computer vision. The latest is the NLP, natural language processing, speech, and so on. Okay, so AI is actually by itself multi-pronged. Okay. So now that we cover both smart cities and AI, let's superimpose the two. So that's the topic for this panel, is that how do we leverage the latest in AI and apply it to all aspects of a smart city, whether it's education, healthcare, energy, smart living, transportation, and so on. Okay, so this afternoon we have a distinguished panel of experts. We have our keynote speaker will be Zhong Lin from IBM, Almaden Research. We have David Colleen, founder of Sapient X. And we have also Greg Tanaka, who is a council member for the city of Palo Alto. So then the next thing I'm going to do is introduce our keynote speaker. Okay, so Dr. Zhong Lin has been a senior software engineer and scientist in IBM Almaden Research, I guess in South San Jose. He's been there for working for the past 20 years. His current interests are in the areas of cognitive business, AI applications, blockchain, big data storage and analytics, cloud computing, service science, IoT, information technology, service management. Please let us welcome Dr. Zhong Lin.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is not the first time I come to this type of conference. Okay? I remember 6 years ago, in the year 2017, we still have the Smart City Forum Expo in San Jose. Today I'm coming here talking about the AI for Smart City. Previously, when we talk about the smart city, normally we are talking about the infrastructure and digitalization, and now we have the AI, pretty hot topic, come to this world. How can we combine the AI is a technology into a smart city construction? So this is a pretty hot topic, and let's see what we can observe and come out. Okay. Digitalization, that's the first impression to this topic. Okay. What we are doing here, okay, over these 100 years, we try to digitalize the information in this world, okay, as the binary digital information, and then we capture the data, analyze the data, and display the information to help people make a decision and making the society moving forward. Okay? So this is the fundamental thing, okay, what we are doing. And then the data become move on. Okay. Come on, okay. You have to come out again. Okay. Right. Okay, it's moving. Okay. So digitalization is our first mission and our target. We try to digitalize everything. And then the fundamental thing is the data. Once we get digitalized data, then we try to use our equipment, facility, people, analyze the algorithm approach to process those data. So the data right now is the cornerstone of those digital economy. And then for the smart management, of course, smart city is a part of the smart management. We got data as a natural resource. Okay. So this is the first thing. Okay. And during this procedure, okay, over these 100 years. On the digital technology, we have a lot of innovation, okay, a lot of progress. Start from the mainframe, the computing facility, got a network, personal computing system, shrink the size of the computer system. And then we got the internet of everything, and the mobile phone, artificial intelligence. This is coming to this world recent years. Okay. And many innovation come out. The first innovation is the computer science. Okay. We come out this one of the major system in the educational system. And then we have the electronic business. We call it e-business, e-commerce or whatever. Okay. We use electronic way to do the business. Okay. This is another innovation. Smart city. In the year 2008, IBM raised up this slogan, they call the Smart Planet, and then Smart City. We want to use a smart way to manage our city, manage our society. Okay? And today we are going to talk about some intelligent way. We call it intelligent robot. Okay? Especially is the ChatGPT, or chatbot. Okay? So the big trend never change. Okay? The trend is digitalize everything, digitalize the management, and make it efficiency to our life, to our work, to our society. Okay? So that's a big trend over this 100 years, and maybe in another 100 years. Okay? Smart city, we have so many definitions, so many concepts, so many books, magazines, a lot of talk. In year 2008, inside the IBM, we raised up this topic, and then put this to the public on this concept. Smart city. It's not city. It's not a city how smart it could be. It's not the mayor how smart it could be. It's the management to this city system how smart could it be. What that means smart is how many digital technology you are using to manage your city system. Okay? This is not the intelligent IQ. Okay? So the cognitive way to manage our city, that's the smart city fundamental thing. And how many ways we can do things smarter? Okay? So far we don't have too much way. Digital way is the unique way. Okay? We instrument the information, collect the information, and make information connect to each other. Okay? And make the intelligent decision for the people, for the manager, for the mayor, for the officers. So the planning system, management system, based on the digital technology, is getting smarter. Okay? That's the fundamental concept over here. Then we are getting into a digitalized era. Okay? We call it cognitive era. This era actually starting from the initial digitalized world. Initially, we have to do the calculating, timing, recording, printing, those very simple machines. Try to digitalize the working process, management procedure. Okay? The old way, 100 years ago, IBM manufactured the tabulating system. Help people to count how long time the worker working for that period and how much money can distribute to that worker. That's a small machine. It's the digitalized machine. Okay? Based on that calculator, then we can easily and efficiently manage the people's salary distribution. And right now, we can do the programmable computing and ask the coding system to generate the code, guided our machine to accomplish a certain target. Okay? And in the next stage, we need cognitive computing, smarter. Okay? So those concepts was growing, okay? From the initial stage to the current stage to the future. And the key concept over here is AI, okay? Artificial intelligence, and driven by the big data. Okay? So those are the logic. And ChatGPT is a conversational robot. Okay? revolutionize the knowledge transfer. How can you get knowledge? How can you transfer knowledge? ChatGPT provides efficient tool. When you get the information from the computing system just working like a human being, give you the answer, generate the paragraph, generate the article, just like people behind the screen. So that ChatGPT make a big movement over there. Those movements to us is not surprise. From ancient time to the modern time to the future, we see a lot of knowledge transformation was changing. The way was changing. Initially, people transfer the knowledge is people-to-people communication, by oral communication. And then we have a symbol, we have a characteristic, we have a printing system, and we have digital media. Now we have intelligent dialogue. So knowledge transfer was changing, making the revolutionized. So ChatGPT make a huge impact to our society. And big impact is in the educational area. We join those forums in the educational people, especially the high school English teacher. They feel shocked. They said, how can we teach? Because ChatGPT can do everything even better than I. That's the question. And our answer is, in the educational system, usually we consider at least 3 layers. The fundamental layer is transfer the basic fact. You teach the students, tell them, hey, this is a fact, this is the history, this is whatever right now and in the future. This thing, this way, this approach will be changed because ChatGPT can do that things. But for the education, you need to transfer the skill. You need to teach the student, the audience, what's the optimized method. That one ChatGPT cannot do. Teacher still very useful. And also in the educational system, you have to teach people ability. What's the value? How can you follow the law? Those things ChatGPT cannot do. So educational system, educators, you have a lot of things to do something smarter based on ChatGPT, those type of tools. The ChatGPT initiative, in my memory, in the year 2015, we have an open forum in San Francisco. Many companies come over. How many things we can open? At that forum, Google opened TensorFlow as a tool for the programming. And IBM can open the Power 7, the CPU manufacturer documentation. And the OpenAI at that moment is very small. And they said, we are going to open the GPT module. That's the GPT module 1 at that moment. Initially, they have a small project. It's artificial educational project. Try to help the people, help the students. They have the mental problem, the autism spectral disorder, ASD. Isolate himself from the society. And then ChatGPT try to make a tool, help those students communicate to some environment. And right now this tool was growing and changing people's working position, working style, working experience, working format, give people efficient way to transfer the information, then impact a lot of business opportunity. So this is what we saw. But fundamentally, the AI technology, the ChatGPT is one of the tools applied the AI technology, generate a powerful tool to help people make a better life with a smarter work. So ChatGPT for smart city, that's the topic in our session. It's, at least we have these 5 directions can apply ChatGPT for the smart city construction. The first one is natural language processing. This is one of the old directions in the AI. How can you transfer the one language into the other format? This can impact the social media, online news articles, and collect the citizens' feedback to increase efficiency for the city management. And the chatbot, they provide the citizen with the instant access to the information and the service, and predict the analytical result for the weather, for the disaster, for the traffic congestion. So a lot of things based on the data, you can use a new way to make your city management smarter. Smart sensors, language translation, those are the ChatGPT can directly provide assistance. ChatGPT has the challenge. This challenge, recently we have some conversation with OpenAI people. What's the business usage for ChatGPT? That's a challenge. We practice ChatGPT, it's fun. It's working interesting, give the question, they give us answer. But for the business people, for the professional utilization, how can we use this tool? So the situation is we tell them what IBM Watson is doing. IBM Watson is provide professional service to the people in the medical, in the city management, in the history, in the military. And we have a general language module plus domain expert knowledge. And solve the single domain problem. This is what we are doing. Right now, the 70% of the banking institute in this world using IBM Watson AI system. For ChatGPT, the question is, no matter whatever the question you ask him, he gives you the answer. Even they don't know the answer, they still give you the answer. That's the problem. For the business people, for the professional application, if you don't know, just tell me you don't know. That's fine. But you give me a very beautiful answer, but doesn't solve the problem. That's the question. That's the challenge. Right now, they don't know how to resolve that. We are still talking about that issue. So the challenge future is how to help the business growing, no matter in smart city or in any business domain. That's the challenge for the AI technology, especially for the ChatGPT. So the AI is stepping into the ordinary. 20 years ago, AI is a big term, and it's deep knowledge. Right now, it's getting popular. And we try to expand in the human's intelligence. We put the slogan over here: working smarter. Working hard is good, but working smarter is more important. How to be smarter? Using digital technology, using artificial intelligence. That's our purpose. So now we see the AI. AI, even in some university, we have 101 class, some basic knowledge. That's still there for different major. They take a look, what's the AI? But specifically, what's AI? You need to focus on the special domain. AI for smart city, AI for finance, AI for pharmaceutical, AI for social media, AI for something. That's the real AI application. That's what we can see in the future. So AI for smart city is one of the important direction. This is the current world. So this is what I'm talking about the AI for smart city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lin, for this interesting talk. I think on behalf of the SVCTBA, we'd like to present you with this pack to commemorate your presence this afternoon.
Thank you.
Right. You have a picture. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. Okay. Moving on to our next panelist. So I represented academia, he represented the business side of it. Now we're going to hear somebody from the city. So our next panelist and speaker is going to be Greg Tanaka. He has been on the Palo Alto City Council since 2016. And he's actually, the way I understand it, he'll be running for a U.S. congressional candidate, right? So make sure that in the future vote for Greg. He is also CEO and founder of service provider. The name of the company is called Percolata. And they offer advanced business analytics for mid-size and global enterprises. There's also a subsidiary of it called Pica Group that provides IT services and consulting. So to tell us more about his company, his products, and his view about AI for smart cities, let's welcome Greg.
Thank you. Let me just try to bring up the slides. Okay, can you guys see it? Great. Okay, everyone can hear me okay? Yes. Okay, I know it's getting late in the day. You guys are like the survivors, so you guys deserve a round of applause. You're survivors here. So you heard a really good talk about the technical side of AI. I'll talk a little bit about some like the political side, and let me just give a quick background on myself. So. I kind of wear two hats. I wear a hat on the entrepreneurship side. So I've done a few machine learning startups. My current startup actually is using AI technology to help optimize Amazon product listings. So that's my latest startup. We just started about 3-4 months ago, and I've done a lot of startups. I've done like 5 startups. This is the first startup that's kind of started to just take off from the get-go. So it's actually quite exciting. And I think that's the nice thing about AI technology. And the second hat I wear is I'm also a public official. So as I was mentioned, I was elected to Palo Alto City Council back in 2016, and I ran for U.S. Congress last year on kind of a pro-business, pro-entrepreneurship platform. And I believe AI is probably one of the biggest moments in our life. Right? I've seen, we've seen mobile, we've seen, like UX, UI, like, Windows, like Mac and stuff like that. But I think AI has the potential to be profound. And I was watching a talk recently. So the Caltech Alumni Association has a talk where they invite guests to speak. And one of the guests they had speak was John Hennessy. Does anyone here know who John Hennessy is? Okay, a few of you guys. So John Hennessy is a former president of Stanford University. He also is one of the, computer architect professors who kind of helped it make what we have today possible. And he's also on the, I think, chairman of the board of Google right now. And one of the questions that the president of Caltech was asking him was, what areas will AI impact? And he turned the question around and said, hey, actually, the question really shouldn't be what areas will AI impact, but really the question should be what areas will AI not impact? And I thought that was a really good question. And I can just tell you, just from kind of sitting in the political role, one area that AI might not touch is politics. So I'll get into that, right? So I'll talk a little bit about this stuff. And just to let you guys know, I used a tool called Tone. Have any of you guys heard of Tone? Oh, Gemma? Okay, so one person. So I thought, hey, we're on an AI panel. I gotta use AI to generate my slides. So everything you see here was generated through AI. So Tone's one of them. I tried another one called Gemma, but I didn't have time to get Gemma working. So anyways, I'll talk a little bit about kind of like the political process, because I think this is going to be kind of interesting. So, I've been in tech. I'm an entrepreneur, and so I'm really into it. I really wanted our city to adopt it. And Palo Alto is known as being kind of birthplace of Silicon Valley, and you would think it would be a very tech-savvy city, right? You think if any city was going to be smart, it should be Palo Alto, right? Well, try to go to Palo Alto and get a building permit, right, to replace the water heater. Try to go and get the trash cover replaced, that the garbage collector ripped off. Try, getting approval to trim a tree that's about to fall down on your house, right, because of the rains, right? And you'll find out that, what happened to the smart city? Where is the smart city? How come it's so hard and arduous to do some of the most basic things? And so this is something I really push hard against within the city is to actually adopt the technology, because there's a lot of technology that exists. I mean, we have a bunch of vendors here that can provide amazing technologies to the city, but in terms of what actually gets used and what really gets improved, just a fraction of that is actually used. Because if you think about what is a city is actually a service provider to the people that live in the city, right? So we should have awesome customer service. But have you ever checked out our Yelp reviews? So if you go to Palo Alto and type Palo Alto Development Center Yelp or Palo Alto Utilities Yelp, how many stars do you think the city gets? Have any of you guys been to DMV? Okay, you know that experience you have at the DMV is kind of like what you get at the city, right? And it's very bizarre. You think, wow, this should be very, we would like to get that Tiffany or Nordstrom, that Amazon-like feel where you just get this incredible customer service, but no, you don't. It's anything but that, which is really bizarre, right? So, there's a lot of potential that AI could have in the city, but we are at the infancy, and there's a lot of incredible pushback to actually use AI and technology in the city. Surprisingly, right? You would think that, why not, right? I mean, one reason why I'm a big fan of technology is because it's the one thing where you can grow the pie. So often in the city we fight over, should money go here, should money go there? We fight over, well, should we fund this program versus that program? And there's always this kind of this zero-sum thinking. Now, I think because you guys are here at the Smart City Conference, you guys probably have this more of an abundance mindset. And I think that's the mindset we want to have. And technology allows us to have this abundance mindset, this mindset of there could be plentiful. We could have more for everyone. And technology allows us to have that. So for instance, I used Tome to generate this presentation. Do you know, anyone guess how long it took me to generate this presentation? Any ideas? Guesses out there? Anyone? 5 minutes. Okay, that was about right. 5 minutes. It took me about 5 minutes to generate this. And, I can't say it's the best thing, but it's not bad, right? It kind of put some relevant pictures, right? It had some of the things that I've been pushing for, like, really, like, the traffic in our city could be a lot better. We could know when to raid El Camino Real, right? Like El Camino Real, anyone that lives in Palo Alto can tell you it's a total wreck. So it's not like we don't know, but it's more of that. The problem with smart cities is that they seem kind of dumb. And it's not kind of dumb because the technology is not available. It's kind of dumb because the political process is like molasses, right? It is incredibly slow, and it makes decisions in a sort of irrational way. Because it's political, right? Not because it's logical. And I think the potential that AI has in this is to actually make it maybe perhaps more logical. So there's lots of opportunities, and I know I have only a 5-minute budget, and I want to leave time for the panel, so I'll kind of breeze through this. But there's so many opportunities. Like, so, for instance, last week or the week before, we just approved finally. This is 2023. Finally approved us a parking guidance system. So to tell you what spots are available. Now this seems kind of like common now. Like, how smart is that? I see it. You see it all over the place. But finally, in our city, we're getting it, right? Which is kind of exciting. There's an optimization of resources by just using intelligence, right? So you can get more for everyone. So this abundance mindset where technology is creating more for everyone. But I think the most important part here is really the issue of it's like how do we procure this technology? How do we deploy it? How do we interact with the constituents? How do we make a city truly smart? Because the technology exists to make it smart, but the politics, the bureaucracy is something that pushes against it. So if I was to ask Hennessy or answer Hennessy, what is Professor Hennessy, what is the one area where AI might not penetrate is politics, right? Or the political area, the cities, because there's so much resistance against it. Actually, I made that suggestion, and then I got lambasted for making a suggestion that maybe we could use AI technology to improve the city. Because, I think in order to, probably the most important piece where AI could actually help is community engagement, engaging with the community. So one thing I've done is I started using AI in my own council member office. So if you email me, I start using AI to figure out how do I craft a good response back to you. Or, did it shut down? Okay. And, or, I don't know. Okay, whatever. And so I think this is one of the biggest potentials, because I think AI can be a big unlock to actually deploying all of this amazing technology that we talk about here, talk about at the show today. And just to give you an example, so I'm a heavy user of ChatGPT, as well as GPT-4, a bunch of other tools. So, so whenever I get a staff report from, and these staff reports can be hundreds to thousands of pages. They're massive tomes of documents. And what I'll do is I'll put it into ChatGPT, and for the really big documents, I use something called ChatPDF. Have anyone here used ChatPDF? Okay, it's pretty cool because it handles like super long documents, like 100-page, 1,000-page documents. And then I'll sit there and ask questions. And I found out that it answers questions better than my staff does, right? So I ask questions like, okay, this is about the project, right? I was looking to approve, like, okay, this is for approving the smart parking, right? And I asked, so what are the problems with this? It says, well, it's a single bidder, right? And then cost increases, a 27% cost increase versus the last bidder who bidded on it last year, right? So why is that? So it allows me to ask better questions. And I think if we could all use this technology, I think we can actually get to that smart city that we've been talking about for the past, 20 years. And so this political unlock, I think, is really important so that this technology that we have can actually be used and that we could serve the public better than we can today. So I know I'm out of time here, but we'd love to continue the conversation and look forward to the panel.
Some of the challenges that we'll be facing in terms of utilizing AI. So the technology here, but the devil is in the detail. How do you use it? Okay, our next panelist, last but not least, is going to be David Colleen. He's the CEO and co-founder of a company called Sapient X. David is a serial AI and VR entrepreneur. That means that he's probably done it a few times.
That means I'm old.
Right. And in 1995, he became one of the founders of VR on the internet. That's always a subject that I was always being interested. VR, okay. And he basically formed his company called Planet 9 Studios. In 2003, David and his team built the first commercial AI-powered conversational characters. Today, his team at Sapient X is building talking characters for smart city, digital signage applications that include answering questions, giving directions, and acting as brand ambassadors. So it seems like you'll be leveraging ChatGPT because that's actually the strength of a conversational thing. So let me give the floor to David.
All right, let's have some fun. Thank you, Bill. And thank you for Actinium to invite us here to participate in the Smart City Show today. We really appreciate that. I like what Greg is doing. He's taking technology and making it relevant in improving city government, and we need more people like Greg that are willing to step up and do that. Bill touched on a couple of things. When I was a baby, we put the first digital city online with San Francisco. Palo Alto came 4 years later in 1999, it was, a long time ago. 20 years ago, we started building talking characters on the premise that if we could make a character talk to you like your best friend, it could do a lot of things that are important to you. It would mean those manuals that you get when you get a piece of electronics, you could throw those out. You wouldn't need them anymore. You could just say to your VCR or your refrigerator, how do I use you? And it would tell you. Now that was kind of a naive thing. It took us a long time, 20 years, to make this stuff actually work. And if you were out and seeing my demos, you would realize we still have more work to do. But our mission today is to bring these talking characters to smart city applications. Now what I mean by that is last year we put out our first public talking character, life-size, at a trade show like this. And it did simple things. It would tell you where the bathroom is, where to get food, who's speaking at 3 o'clock, who is David Colleen and what time is he talking, where's his booth, basic things. Now, we could have put a person out there to give you all that information, but we're trying to do things that people have trouble staffing or that people don't want to do. We're doing the boring stuff. Some of our next customers were airports wanting to guide travelers to find their way to their gate or help them with their lost luggage, or I missed my flight, I need a hotel. How can I find a hotel at this late hour? These are basic things. We had a doctor's group come to us and say, remember that person in the reception lobby who took down your medical data? We've doubled their salary and we still can't keep that position staffed. Could you build an AI character that could take your information, where you live, what your insurance information is? We don't want to replace doctors. Doctors are the strong part of the medical system. We want to do the drudge things that folks don't really like to do. Saturday, I'll be in Chicago. We have a new system that you're welcome to go out and try out by the glowing igloo out there that takes your food order. Now these are our baby steps, but we're going to expose this to the restaurant industry. I know when I pull into Burger King, and you can see I've been to Burger King a little too much, when I pull in there, I always ask them to leave the onions off my burger. Half the time, I get onions on my burger. Well, so that's a job that we'd be pretty good at, because our system is 99% accurate when it's working properly. And I know I could trust it to get my order right. So these are the sorts of tasks that people are asking us to do. And let me bring up some slides so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Just one sec here. Oh, there we go. All right. So you can see one of our talking characters at a show from last year. Our vision for using these characters in smart cities is to first of all put them where people can see them and make use of them. One of my favorite companies is JC out of Paris. They have a devil's proposition for you if you're a city's manager. They say, we'll pay for your public toilets, we'll pay for your bus shelters if you put our advertising panels up there. So you can see that JC has been busy experimenting with things like a kiosk that you can draw on the screen, that you can get a time readout or the weather. We want to up the game with companies like JC to make characters that you can walk up to and talk to and say, when's the next bus coming? How do I get across town? What time is it? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? All these things we can do. So let me hit some numbers for you. While the core of what we do is AI systems that talk to people, we realized from the research early on that people really want to talk to a face. And it's a human need. The researchers say 70% of all human communication is nonverbal. So we believe that in order to properly communicate with people, you can't just have a disembodied voice like Siri or Alexa. You actually have to have a character that interacts with them. And research also tells us that people don't like stick figures, they actually like characters that look like you and I. So that's what we do, we follow the research. I'm going to be talking at the restaurant show in Chicago soon. 78% of all the restaurants out there are having trouble with staffing. They can't find enough people to help. Well, we want to help them. There's a lot of reasons to use the talking characters and a growing body of science behind it. So some of the things that I can show you, you see the little character. I don't know if my mouse is working. No, it turns off the mouse. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see our food ordering kiosk. That is what we're going to be presenting to the restaurant world. You can see characters that in the bottom middle, Chief at Liberty Station is a museum docent. He's geared for school kids that want to come and learn about the history of the Navy base that used to be there. Other characters are at trade shows, others are designed to greet you when you walk into Lowe's and you don't know which aisle that funky piece of hardware is. Well, our character can tell you exactly how to get there. So those are the hard tasks that we're doing, and the simple tasks in making smart cities better. So I'll wind up there and leave it to your questions. Thank you for your rapt attention.
Thank you very much, David. So this is the presentation from the panelists. What we would like to do now is open up for any of the audience questions for any of the panel members that are here. Anything that you would like to ask, instead of asking ChatGPT today, this afternoon, you can ask a live person here. Okay, so I don't know where there's a microphone around.
Great presentation. How expensive is the AI to implement?
Could you put your microphone closer to your mouth?
How
very good.
How expensive is it to implement the AI? For example, that the robot that can take your order, okay, and get it correct. You know, those kinds of applications.
Okay, let me start by answering, and we'll have any of the panel can supplement my answer. For example, to the question that you had, how much does one of those robot servers cost? If you buy one, it's about over $10,000. Now, I understand that right now you can also rent it. Rent it for, I think, a couple $1,000s per month. And that includes like maintenance and service. Overall, AI is not cheap. As a matter of fact, AI, the thing that we're talking about here, like ChatGPT and generative AI, there's only a few companies in the world, the big companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Google, IBM, that have the compute power that supports it. So all of this is actually done in the cloud. So unless you have a cloud farm, it's not for you and I to say, okay, I'm going to go and build one myself. You can go and subscribe to it, but you don't have the compute power. Because just to train a model, for example, like ChatGPT, it probably takes about a year and a half. And that's like an enormous amount of compute power. Okay, so that gives you a perspective, right? Yes.
May I tell you on that, Bill? I'm going to go contrarian on Bill here. This stuff is not expensive. It used to be. It used to be that big consulting companies charged millions and millions and millions of dollars for this stuff and ran it on big iron. Well, that's not what it's about today. It's about democratizing and making it cheap. Our very first customer had us work on a mental health application. And while, yes, standing up a new mental health application, it takes time and engineering money to achieve, the goal was to bring mental health care to the people who couldn't already afford it by drastically slashing the price of it and doing it at volume. So that's what I'd like to focus on when we're talking about the money aspects of this. I was joking around about doing fast food ordering and stuff like that. Yeah, we can do it less than a minimum wage person. We can do it 24 hours a day. So yeah, we can reduce the cost of that. Will that person miss the job? Well, that's a good question. Hopefully there are things for that person to do that are more engaging to them as an individual than taking your order at the fast food restaurant order window. We're going to make it really cheap so everybody can use it.
Yeah, that's a very good observation, David. Before I give the floor to Tanaka, I want to just say a couple other things. The cost can vary. For example, today you can log into OpenAI and talk to ChatGPT. It doesn't cost you anything. Zero. Okay, you open an account, you can talk to it, and you can get answers, right? Then we had also Dr. Ling. Well, he's worried more about the business side of it, right? Now that one requires a lot of knowledge, domain knowledge, and so on. So it depends. I guess the answer to the question, I'm glad that David interjected here. It varies all over the map. It could be from free of use, to it could be expensive, depending on what applications. Okay, now let me give it to Greg.
Yeah, great question. I do agree that the cost of AI technology is dropping, and especially now that we have a real horse race, like Google Bard came out, like the new one came out last week, and so it's going to get better and cheaper. So I think I agree that thought. And one of that I want to share with you is a bit of a tangent, but I think still relevant, which is that, like, if you look at government in general, okay, so like for instance in Palo Alto, we built a bike bridge across the 101, right? It took us like 10 years to do it, right? The building didn't take 10 years, but the planning and approval process took like 80% of the time. And most of the cost, I think something like 2/3 of the cost, wasn't that concrete, wasn't the steel, it was us talking to each other, right? So we hired consultants upon consultants to talk to each other, talk to constituents, and to hem and haw and think about like, well, should we do this or should we do that? And so you think of the cost of that, right? So much like high-speed rail. Okay, anyone hear about high-speed rail? We spent billions of dollars on this thing. And what have we spent billions of dollars doing? Talking to each other. Talking like, should we do this? Should we do that? Should we elevate it underground? Should we do that? You know, so much of what happens in government right now is just talking, not doing anything, just talking, right? So incredible amount of cost. And I think this is why I'm so excited about AI, is because it can reduce the cost of talking, because someone could sit there and talk to an agent for free, like ChatGPT, all day long to get themselves satisfied. And so I see there's so much potential in this. But like I said before, I made the suggestion at City Council, like, hey, let's use AI to help speed things up. And like people are like, oh no, we can't do that, right? Anyways, good question.
Thank you, Greg. Any other questions? See, we can pass the microphones. I'm sorry that there's not a staff member here serving the microphone.
This one's for Greg. How are you thinking about the guidelines or any regulations for AI and the ethics of it, especially applying it to the city or any government?
That's actually the current hot topic. Is because you know that Sam Altman just testified in front of the Senate, I don't know, yesterday or so. So that's the thing that people are currently worried. Especially the people who actually were some of the gurus that developed the technology. So they are beginning to realize that if they're not careful, what they manufacture is a tiger out of control. So that's what everybody's worried about. So now the thing I don't have a crystal ball, especially with the U.S. Politics. When do it does really require regulation, it looks like, and the regulation comes at several levels. Say within the U.S., all the major software vendors can agree on something that is reasonable and still allow them to maintain their competitive edge, right? And then there's at the global level, across countries, because while say the U.S. Congress passes a law, well, what happens to AI development in Europe, in Asia, and so on, right? So I think that right now we are at the stage where people at least are being aware that the next thing that we need to do in order to make sure that doesn't run amok is that we need some regulation. But how long does it take? Having watched politicians in Washington, I don't have that much high confidence myself. Okay, so any other people want to talk?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's a lot of fear around AI, and we see so many sci-fi movies about robots taking over the world and destroying humanity, right? So we all have that kind of thought about it. So my day job, I'm an AI entrepreneur, right? So I use this technology all day long, like personally myself. And I can tell you right now, it's pretty far away from that. I mean, maybe we'll get there, but I mean, just some really basic. And I'm talking about the most advanced model, like GPT-4. Just some basic things. It's not quite there. I think the fear is ahead of where the technology is. I think technology will eventually get there, but I think we're a bit far from that right now. But I think technology will improve, and I think it's rapidly improving, which is great. And I think GPT-4, what's really neat about it is that it can actually follow instructions. So you can theoretically use GPT-4 to make GPT-4 better. So I think we're starting to get a bit of that flywheel going on. But I kind of see this overall as a way where it's like the calculator that came out, right? It helps us add faster or do long division faster. Me doing long division by hand, I'm not sure there's a lot of value add. Likewise, like me typing a bunch of stuff versus having it auto-generated, I don't know if that's a lot of value add either. But the point you asked about, which I thought was really good, is about regulation. And this is actually why I ran for Congress last year, was because, has anyone ever watched our Congress on TV? Anyone seen this? Okay, anyone see the kind of questions they ask and the kind of people that are on there? Does anyone there think that these people know a lot about technology? Anyone? Anyone think that these guys are technical gurus? Okay, that's a bit of the problem, because I think this is probably one of the biggest transformational technologies in our lifetime. I mean, it's probably bigger than the PC, it's probably bigger than the internet. And I'm not exaggerating, I really think it's significant, even though I don't believe that it's ready to take over the world, right? It's not going to become, the killer robot yet, right? Not yet. But I do fear what's happening in Washington. And I saw that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he got kind of grilled by Congress, and I saw a few other CEOs there. And the level of questioning, the level of understanding about what's going on is so low. It is scary low. And so my fear isn't so much the lack of regulation, but more of like bad regulation. Because I can tell you, like in China, they are putting billions and billions of dollars behind this. They want to be number one because they see it as a way to dramatically improve the productivity of their workplace, of the people in their country. And really, that's what matters, is can we increase people's productivity? If we can increase people's productivity, everyone does better. If we don't, we're in trouble. And so that's the thing I fear most about what's going on right now is bad regulation. Regulation that will stifle this technology that's just starting to take off, right? And so that's what I fear. And I hope that we get people in office that know a little bit about what's going on and at least doesn't put out the sparkles, the beginning of of this new flame of innovation. I just hope that doesn't get extinguished by some heavy-headed, know-nothing politician. But.
Okay, let me make one observation. This is personal observation. So it just represents my view. It doesn't represent, like a whole bunch of people. But I've been watching and looking at all the news and all the information related to generative AI and ChatGPT and so on. So I agree that we may still be years away from killer robots, and actually that's not what worries me. It's not like a physical robot coming to my house and whatever, or trying to have the robots, using AR-15s. The thing with the AI is something that, two things I want to say. Nobody could predict the speed. So when Greg says, well, he may be a few years away, even the godfather of AI admits that he thought that the technology of AGI would take another 5 to 10 years. But if you look at the speed, and this is, I teach emerging technologies, and it's not only the AI, all aspects of emerging technologies are actually moving much faster than people thought. Okay, so there's a saying that says, things that you predict that will take 5, 10 years may happen in about a year and a half. And there are also things that people say, well, it will be here next year, and it will take 5 years. So nobody can tell. But right now, the speed, why people are worried, even the people who are working on AI, they started to become worried, is because it way exceeded their expectations in terms of speed. Okay, so that's again my observation of the technology in general, and this is especially true with AI. Think about how we've been only 5 months since ChatGPT came out. Everybody is coming out with the YouTube say, well, how do you become a millionaire with ChatGPT, or how do you use it for to make your own business, and so on. So the thing is that once you hit something and everybody's on it, you don't know how fast the thing is going to move. Because next week we may have somebody says, oh, I'm going to have a startup that is going to do something great, leveraging, say, AI. Okay, so this is not just coming only from me, but from the experts of AI. They are all becoming now cautious because nobody predicted the thing was going to be that fast. Okay. Any other questions?
Bill, can I go contrarian for a second?
Sure.
Again, that's just in my nature. You know, we're enjoying the bubble. Us AI companies are in the limelight right now, and we like that. We lap it up. It drives business to us. But are we building Skynet? We're so far away from that. That's just silly. And I don't want to burst your bubble. ChatGPT is a lot of fun to screw around with, but it's really hard to make any product with it. So when I first sat down with ChatGPT, we integrated it with our system last year. It told me profound things like white people are better than black people. It told my friend that her nose was too big. It said all sorts of scatological baloney, and I realized what ChatGPT is. It's a minor bird. It hears things on the internet, and it used statistical analysis to figure out what's the best thing to spew out. It has zero intelligence. There's no intelligence there. AGI, come on. We're so far away from that. And I would submit that, yes, we need smart people in government to help guide this. I would also submit to you that AI is not evil. It doesn't have an evil bone in it. It's the people who use it. So we've been using AI, all of us in this room, for the last decade with Siri and Alexa. I would say there's some evil stuff going on there. My wife thought it was so evil she went around the house and unplugged all the Siris and Alexas because she was talking with a friend about Russia, and then up came an ad for something from Russia. She said, I've had enough. Alexa's out of here. It's companies and individuals that can be evil, not the AI. So I hope as we're forming regulations around this, we remember it and put the regulations where they're going to do some good. Not putting safety strips on ChatGPT, but on regulating the companies to be responsible to all of us as they deploy AI out in the world. It's coming. Let's be prepared for it.
Okay, we'll take your input. I want to also say something again. So we are in a panel discussion. So this is great. This is a great discussion. Okay, so on one point I agree with David. There's also the best case and there's a worst case. Okay, so there's no right and wrong here. People can have a different opinion of where we're heading. Okay, so people say, well, the thing is so far away. And I say it may be here maybe next year, okay? Now, the other thing I do agree with Greg or Dave is that ChatGPT is but a tool, okay? But the danger is just like there are pro-guns and there are people against guns, okay? So if you make a very powerful tool available to anybody, you don't know the consequences. And believe me, AI is way more powerful than a gun if you know how to use it. So that's the danger, is that you don't know who is going to be leveraging AI. Maybe not your company, but who knows? There are also a lot of evildoers. So how do you control? Is that the gun itself, the machine gun or the AR-15 by itself doesn't do anything. But who is using it? You can use it for military, or you can use it. It can be used by a terrorist or a criminal. So that's the danger. And believe me, AI is a much dangerous tool or more powerful tool than the gun. If you really know AI, okay. So there's no. No, I'm just presenting my personal view. It's not a true or false or right or wrong. I'm just presenting my own personal view. Yes?
Okay, I give you some good case because last week I talked to
why don't you wait for the microphone so that everybody can hear?
Okay, I talked to a professor of AI for Berkeley, Berkeley professor.
Right.
He called Masu Karavich. He published 7 child book using ChatGPT in 3 weeks. A series of 7 books just using ChatGPT with the wording and also the graphics. So I would just wanted to let you know that there are good uses of AI. You actually using the ChatGPT 4.0. He said the 3.5 and the 4 is such a difference. It's amazing that the ChatGPT 4 can think like people. So you guys can really try it. I'm not an AI expert, but he is, okay?
Actually, very good. I'm also an author of 12 books. And I had already decided not to write any more books. The last book I wrote was on the year 2020. I wrote 12 books about, let me see, 9 of them were in Chinese and 3 of them in English. And then I had said, okay, my last book is going to be on the year 2020. Actually, I had stopped writing before the year 2020, but since I didn't have anything to do for that period of COVID, I said, well, I might as well write another book. I wrote the COVID 2020 book. Now, guess what? I had the same thought that your friend, the professor at UC Berkeley. I said, maybe I'll write another book, and I'll use ChatGPT to write on human wisdom. Okay? So all my books are on Chinese philosophy and books. I say, well, why don't I use ChatGPT to write yet another book where it's all AI created? And not only that, but all the figures and all the images were also being used, say, DALL-E. Okay? So all what's called generative AI created. I said, it's not written by me.
Point. I acknowledge that there are potential dangers of AI technology, but I think the same could be said with just about any technology. So you think about like the invention of fire, right? Okay, it burns down forest fires, right? I mean, it causes a lot of other issues, but it also runs our cars, heats our house, does lots of, spins turbines so we can actually have power. So any technology does always good and bad, and I think. If I think about it as a practitioner, someone that uses a lot of AI technology every single day, I think it's going to be a net good. And if I think about what is AI technology, like especially like ChatGPT, what is it? In some ways, it's like the ultimate communication tool. So maybe in the future, rather than writing a book, you create your own little AI chatbot, right? So I was thinking about it for myself. Maybe one day my kids will talk to me after I'm dead about like my life, right? So it's another way of communicating. It's different than a static book, right, or a static web page. It's a dynamic thing. So I wonder, and I agree, it's definitely not AGI. It's even although GPT-4 is by far better than GPT 3.5, but I just think it's another way for us to communicate better together than we ever could before, and make ourselves more productive. Because so much of what we do, not just the government, but I think a lot of places, is us just trying to communicate. There's so much overhead in communication, and I think AI, especially the chatbots, will enable us to communicate more effectively, faster, easier, better. And then what that allows is it frees us up for that time to do other things that are more productive, things that are more interesting, things that are more beneficial to society. And yes, we do have to worry about maybe some of the potential misuses of it. But any technology that comes out, there's a potential misuse. Even a calculator, some misuse. Well, maybe some use it to calculate how much explosives they should put in the building. Right? That's really bad use. But now a little bit contrived. But it's. I think that the number of good use cases for AI is way higher than the number of bad use cases.
Okay, actually, there's a lot of just so that since you stay for this long, I'm going to give you also another freebie. Because I give talks almost every month on the latest technology, and you'll probably be interested in what's next for ChatGPT. Right now it's basically a conversational chat box, and you have to type in the thing answers you to you in written form. The next version of ChatGPT, whether it's ChatGPT 4 or 5, is going to be multimodal. That means that just like right now today, you talk to Siri voice by voice, not by writing your prompt in English. You can talk to it, and it'll give you the answer. Okay, so it will be able to handle images, video, audio, okay, all in one. Right now, it's just mostly text. Okay. Also, what's next? Right now, a chat box is just something like a question and answer. It's a knowledge transfer tool. But what is missing is that you need to have a robot who can act on the thing. So let's say if you ask a question, say, well, could you help me mow the lawn? The answer will say, well, no, but because I don't have, the equipment, whatever. But if you have a robot that can do it for you. So right now, what is next is what they call the humanoid robots. Okay, so I'll probably be giving a talk in the next month or so. So keep, I'm on the Chinese Institute of Engineers. I give a monthly talk on the latest emerging technology. So that's my next talk is going to be on humanoid robots.
So even the driving can be a remote.
Well, actually, people, the way that people look at the driverless cars is this, they say that's a AI on wheels. It's basically the platform is using the vehicle, okay? But later on, there will be also, people talk about driverless cars. Well, it's because you have AI built in the car. It's like AI on wheels. But AI on wheels can do only certain things. It cannot help you around the house. It cannot cook a dinner for you, right? Okay, so that's the next thing. The next thing is to have, so if you look at right now the robot technology today, you have the Roombas that give you the vacuum for you, and then you have the lawnmower that can do mow the lawn for you, but it cannot do the tax for you. It cannot sing you a song when you get home. All of that stuff is only if you have it's not completely AGI. It's not like an all-purpose, but it will be multi-role type of robot. Okay, so that's the next thing that's probably coming in the next few years. Everybody, actually, Elon Musk is saying maybe he will abandon building EVs and he'll be building the robots. Or he's moving his factory from China to Mexico. Well, where's the workforce? They say, well, I probably build robots to manufacture the EVs in Mexico. Okay, any other ones? Otherwise, we'll adjourn. I want to again thank you all my panelists, David, Greg, and Dr. Lin, and also thank you for coming and attending this seminar. Okay.